I mix what I like, what I like, what I like, what I like, what I like. All right, everybody, welcome back again to this special I Mix What I Like, Not By Myself, or the special edition of Not By Myself. Uh, I mix what I like in BPM. I appreciate all of this, you joining us who are here live as members and those members who will join later and see this at their own convenience. I appreciate you. We appreciate your membership and just wanted to find a couple ways of creating some new and fun content for members and patrons who will get access to this as well early. And just to thank you all for your support and have a little fun. Yeah. I had to do a quick wardrobe change. Yeah. We got to keep it fresh. You know what I mean? But uh, well, a little bit. So what I've done is the video is 30 minutes, but so we'll watch as much of it as we can all stomach. We're minus the first 6 minutes, which I've already watched and I don't want to watch again, but are just they're just sort of introductory comments where Boyce Watkins basically just says that he and his work is great. He doesn't want any hostility. He wants just people who love Black people and have respectful conversation. And he doesn't want any of the hateful commentary in the chat or else the and where he takes some light shots at critics or people might be too radical for him, but I'm sure he's going to come back to that, and we'll pick up sort of there with the video, and just collectively watch together. And again, shout out to the comrade Ramiro for giving me this idea, indirectly, I guess, that we should be watching these things collectively instead of trying to suffer through them on our own. But as I said, despite whatever my own personal disagreements are, I do think it's important on some level that we do this, have these discussions, because again, whether it's my students or people just broadly within the community, they know of Boyce, they know of his arguments. He has a certain amount of following. I mean, this video already has, in just a few days, I think, 37, almost 38,000 views. Which isn't breaking YouTube, but it's significant enough. And then also because the topic area is, I think, going to spill over into hip hop and celebrity, which is something that whether it's my class or just general work, I think is interesting or important to be aware of, at least what's being said. So that said, let's get to it, because I know we want to leave time to get to the special event happening at 11. So let's go.
Right. This is important to understand. I don't think you have to have this conversation in a way that says, I hate all the rappers. You see Killer Mike out here doing the best he can. You see T.I. in his evolution as a human being. You see some of these other artists out here that are really kind of saying, okay, how do I really try to do something for my people, right? Immortal Technique, Montez Walls, thank you. Immortal Technique came through. And before I even talked to him for an hour on this platform.
By the way, this is another reason why I wanted to. I did see, so I must have gone back. I must have seen a little bit more because I saw this. He talked. That was the other thing. Watkins is talking about engaging rappers and celebrities around economics, starting businesses. Sorry, I didn't set this up properly. And talking about his engagement. That is Watkins engaging people like Kanye and Ice Cube. And then now as he's talking about Immortal Technique, which is a little bit of a shock and disappointment to me, but that in particular, given where his politics are, that his techniques, I would have thought that, well, anyway, I don't know what happened with the conversation, but that Watkins is talking to these rappers, and that instead of he's saying condemning them as just not doing enough for us, so he's in some ways defending the artistic community as so far at least, as not being able to do more than they are, or or it being too easy to condemn them for not doing enough. And he's talked about how he's engaged with some of them, which again, I'm not confused by, because that's why you would see some of the confused economic, black capitalist models coming out of Kanye and Ice Cube's work. But anyway, so that's where we are. Well, let me.
This platform, we talked for 2 hours as black men off camera and had a great conversation. I was very impressed with his intelligence. And so I think it's important that when we talk about how artists are moving and what they're doing and not doing, I think it's important to try to have some element of balance. And even I've become more balanced over time. I used to be very frustrated, and I still am. But I said, maybe shaking my fist at the air isn't the best way to solve this problem. Okay. But at the same time, remember, you have to let go of this old Negro tradition of getting on your hands and feet and knees and just bowing to every son of a bitch who made a couple $100 from the white man. Seriously, give me a yes or no if you know what I'm talking about. One of the things that black people do that you need to stop doing is you worship people just because white people put them on TV. Seriously, that white folks will grab the most raggedy Negro, somebody who hates black women, somebody who's teaching your kids to go get hooked on dope so they can die at an early age, somebody who's mass marketing black genocide worse than a freaking Klansman. Try not to cuss today. That's part of my evolution. Stop cussing so much, right? As much as a damn Klansman, that worse than a member of the KKK. Seriously, like you really are up here rapping about how many black men you have killed. Like, are you serious right now? And you up here talking about Black Lives Matter?
Actually, this goes back to something I've been disagreeing with in terms of Boyce Watkins. I know he at one point was cool with Dyson on this issue, and some others where I think they've mostly missed this point about hip hop, is that, again, the popular rappers that we are confronted with or who are imposed on us have nothing to do with what is some sort of natural occurrence from within the black community or some desire from within the black community. These are folks who are, again, as is the process with any colonial capitalist process, they are imposed on us, quite to the contrary of other rappers who would have been advocating something else. So I agree with the argument that the ones who are promoted are often promoting some sort of genocide or negativity, but that's not something that is naturally occurring necessarily from within the black community. It is something that is encouraged, produced, promoted, marketed, and then disseminated, again, to negate anything else that might be coming. By the way, Boyce did, I forgot to also mention earlier, he did say that part of the proof that some of the rappers that he's working with are on the right track is that he asked Kanye at one point to tweet out a positive reference to Claude Anderson's work, and apparently Kanye did. So, there it is. So, folks, please check my critique of Claude Anderson's work, and which there's a consistency here for sure. Absolutely.
Lives matter. Black lives can't matter to you if you dance into a song called look at how many Negroes I shot today. Like, seriously, like you literally are dancing to a song where a guy is celebrating the murder of young black men, but yet you walk around saying the way they're killing our men is just bothering me. But then that song came out, that was my jam. Get some discernment, please. Like, seriously, like let's evolve a little bit and let's start holding our own feet to the fire and kind of saying, well, maybe that's a little bit contradictory. Maybe it's a little bit hypocritical.
By the way, is that in the background, he's got, this is his I guess his TIFO or his background for the Black Business School, because again, he's charging people for his analysis and I guess advice on economics. But one, I'm thinking, does he have a trademark infraction problem with Puma? And then worse, is he tried to co-opt on some level the Black Panther symbol with that? Yikes. I'm just checking that. Okay.
Hypocritical. Mm-hmm. Maybe we can do a little bit better, right? So let me just talk about that statement. And again, I put the post up on my Instagram. I like
right. So
Instagram as a forum for free
Puma
speech
trademark
and
right?
Intelligent black people or people who want to be intelligent. You ain't even got to be there yet. Just if you want to grow, it's a great place for people to talk. And I believe you should talk about whatever you want to talk about. So here's the deal. In that statement, what Dr. Frazier mentions, and again, I'm going to give him credit for the post. I don't know if it was his. Again, I've seen the picture before, but I think it's a great thing to talk about. He's basically saying, look, there's $1 billion in this picture. All this flexing, all this chest thumping. Look at me. Look at how successful I am, holding the glass up in the air. So many of us are cheering for that. So many of us are calling that Black excellence. But is it really Black excellence? Like excellence, let's look up the term. Let's look up the definition of the word excellent. Let's see. What's the definition? Hit the thumbs up button. Please hit the thumbs up button. What's the definition of the word excellent? Excellent, extremely good, outstanding. Excellent, the best meaning of excellence is eminently good, first class, superior.
Is this him doing a
so
critique?
Here's what I want to ask. Now, when I think about excellent, synonyms for the word excellent: accomplished, admirable, attractive, distinguished, exceptional, exemplary, exquisite, fine, first rate, great, good, magnificent, outstanding, skillful, sterling, superb, superlative, capital, certified, champion. So here's what I believe when I see these men in this picture, right? When I see the men in this picture,
is he going to show the
I
picture?
see excellence in a certain context, right? Do I see hip hop excellence? It's hard to debate that. It's hard to kind of make that point entirely because y'all know that there are excellent artists who never get on the radio. There's no reason, there's no way anybody in their right mind can explain why rappers like D1 get no airtime, other than for the fact that he's not rapping about stereotypical ideas or things that are going to get Black people.
So I think to Silberg's point, this is a problem that I have. Like, so he starts to dovetail into something that sounds like sound and reasonable logic, and then he uses that, as many people do, to take that, as Silberg, you say, this grain of truth and drag it to the
Get
right.
Black people killed. There's no way you can explain why Immortal Technique is not on the radio, other than to say, well, he's an intelligent revolutionary who believes Black people need to stand up for themselves. Right? If you've heard these guys rap, you know that they're every bit as good as everybody in this picture. There's the picture right there. I'm gonna put it on the screen. Right? So excellence. If you're gonna use the word excellent, I think you have to contextualize it very, very carefully. And what I mean by that is these men are excellent at getting lots of attention in a white supremacist system and getting white-owned record labels and white-owned platforms to promote them. That's what they're excellent at. They're excellent.
So why would Boyce tell my man that he wouldn't want to have a discussion or debate with me because something along the lines of he wants to have just a positive exchange, something like that? I would be more than happy to have a pleasant and positive exchange with him on this issue, because that is what he's doing. He's taken a very logical starting point, and then he's going to take it to the right. So I don't,
navigating
to the conservative
the white supremacy and getting put on TV and getting put on the radio.
Because he's right about this.
And getting money from mostly white-owned record labels and Jewish-owned record labels in order to
with the Jews.
Promote their brand.
There they go with the Jews again.
So it doesn't
look, there was a couple. I don't know if that person's in the members thing here, but there was a couple people. This Jews thing, I honestly don't know. I don't know if it can be dealt with. I would like to do more to address it. But this stuff is to me, this is part of the hustle in some of these. I was going to say nationalist circle. I don't consider Boyce in that category, but in some of these circles, this is part of the hustle of, I'm going to throw out a shot at Jews to sound more radical. But it's not, there's a historical inaccuracy about it, or about how it came to be, that Jews would be in these points of interaction with Black folks in entertainment, housing, and elsewhere, or banking and elsewhere, that never gets dealt with, and it's just left in that sort of, let's get at the Jews to get some points. I don't know. It's just the same kind of thing. I'm going to take something that has a basis in logic and accuracy, and then I'm going to drag it to the most conservative.
Y'all know that he is, but if you want to use a term like Black excellence, I think you have to make sure you narrow it down to exactly what is he excellent at. So we talk about what these guys are excellent at, right? They're also excellent at branding, at presenting a persona. They're excellent at flexing. Like, I'm excellent at doing a video with a bunch of women in bikinis with an AK-47 on my lap, with a pound of cocaine in the back, right? And presenting an image to you that for whatever reason, because you've been fed a type of dysfunction that came from the war on drugs and the crack era, where CIA dropped crack into the black community. You like that image. You think that's keeping it real. You know, when Rick Ross says I'm a boss, you're like, well, what you say? Well, what does that mean to be a boss? You know, when I think about boss, I think about my daddy. He was the boss of our household. When I think about boss, I think about a CEO, maybe, who's running the company. When I think about a boss,
that's what I'm saying. Look at
who knows their
that.
destiny, right?
Look at that. That's what I'm saying. Look at it. That is slick. When I think of a boss, I'm thinking of a CEO that's running a company, because that's where he wants us.
Who's going for what they want, right? But
gangster.
In the Rick Ross world, and again, no disrespect to Rick, I think Rick he's not terrible, right? He's not a terrible guy. He's mixed. He's a mixed bag, right? In Rick's world, boss means I'm visualizing this. I am on a yacht in Miami with a white shirt on that's open, with my chest out, with a bunch of chains on my chest.
You know what?
And I got a fine-ass woman with a big booty on this side. I'm holding a glass of champagne. I got a gun in the back in case you fuck with me. And I got some cocaine. I'm moving that cocaine, and that's how I got paid, right? And that's boss, right? That's, unfortunately, that has distorted the mind of many young black men to think that's what a boss looks like. Now, it doesn't mean you're not a boss. I mean, yeah, if you are a kingpin in the coke game, and I've known them, they're definitely bosses. I mean, some of the best entrepreneurs on earth were drug dealers, and it wasn't necessarily their fault. Again, the CIA dumped a bunch of crack in the black community. So what are you going to do? You know, some guys didn't want to go work at Burger King. I can understand that. I completely get that, right? But I think that what you have to understand at the same time is that the white man got you boxed in with that nonsense. He boxed you in. How did he box you in? Well, let me show you how he boxed you in. I have a meeting soon, so I can't really talk for a long time today. I hate that, but I'm going to show you this picture. Look at this image. Who's in this picture? In the chat, type in the names of the people in this picture. In the Instagram, we're going to say the names so you'll know who's in this picture. This is the Olympics. There's an image of Kevin Hart, Stephen A. Smith, and Snoop Dogg. Kevin Hart, Stephen A. Smith, and Snoop Dogg. The reason this image is very powerful to me is because this is a reflection of exactly how white folks have you boxed in to a specific typecast of what a black man is supposed to be. The three areas that the black man is allowed to have any sort of relevance in white-owned racist media is typically if he's in one of three areas. If he is a rapper, particularly a gangster rapper, maybe you rap about, killing black people, whatever, or if you are a comedian, or if you are somehow linked to sports. Stephen A. Smith is not an athlete, but he talks about the athletes, right? So he's a sports guy, right? Now, so maybe a better example.
Paid more than most athletes to talk about athletes, and again, this is where I agree with this point broadly, although. Again, given what, and I admit I didn't play it because I didn't want to rewatch it myself. But at the beginning of this video, Watkins talks about being cool with Ice Cube. It was so I'm not understanding it. So is he arguing that Snoop is still a gangster rapper and Ice Cube is not? Or Ice Cube is more responsible economically and politically with it, despite his gangster rap, than Snoop is? I don't know, but that's interesting. But again, he's saying something that is not,
be Kevin Hart, Snoop Dogg, and Shaquille O'Neal, or LeBron James, or something like that, right? But those are the three areas that the black man typically is allowed to excel: sports, entertainment, or comedy.
That's a good point, Troy.
I think there's a reason for that. If you read books like Black Labor, White Wealth, you'll know that even going back to slavery, the comedian is not a threat. The comedian is going to make white people laugh. White people like black men to make them comfortable. That's why in Hollywood you have so many men putting on dresses and wigs in order to make others say, ha ha ha, oh, he can't be a scary Negro. He's got a dress on, right? You can't stand toe to toe, eye to eye with the white man and really say, I'm a man just like you, because he's not going to believe you. He's not going to see it that way. Kevin Hart's a short little comedian. That's what works for him. Stephen A. Smith is connected to sports, right? The black male, we excel at sports. We're excellent at sports. Many of us are. And sports is that venue through which black people, if you go back 100 years, you had white people that looked up to black men who could play sports, who could jump high and run fast and everything else, right? Snoop Dogg He's the jolly rapper, right? That's what he's become. But he's also the jolly gangster rapper, right? So as long as you rapping about killing black people or whatever, then it's okay, right? You rap about beating white women, well, then we're gonna take you down. You rap about going out and I'm gonna go get some.
Yeah, that was unnecessarily
and just take them out today. That ain't gonna work. But if you like, and then also the disrespect for women. Again, I'm not hating on Snoop. I like Snoop. He did good in the Super Bowl. He did a great job. But remember, his most famous lyric was "We don't love them hoes." So that disrespect for black women is something that sells. Whether you're talking about Snoop Dogg,
I mean, he is right about this.
Samuels, it sells, right? The disdain for black women is something that is welcome in media.
And is he being critical of Kevin Samuels? Because I agree with him on that too.
We hate black women too. We hate them. And remember, when you go to some of these concerts, you got to really look at who's on stage and who's in the audience.
No, you're right.
A lot of these concerts where you might have black men rapping about killing black men or calling black men the N-word, right? There's the people in the stands cheering that on are white people. So these are the same white people who are the white liberals who claim that Black Lives Matter in one breath, but in the other breath, they're literally dancing along to a song with lyrics like "Die, die, Igga, die." Right? How you dancing to a song called "Die, Igga, die," and you up here talking about Black Lives Matter? Clearly, Black lives don't matter if you think that the song "Die, Igga, die" is okay. It doesn't make you sick to your stomach. Right. So my point on this is to say this. Look, if you want to get a quick answer to that question with George Frazier, why is there $1 billion in this picture and no black-owned schools and black-owned hospitals and all this other stuff? It's because rappers and entertainers are excellent at what they're excellent at. What they're not excellent at is creating industry. Like, our biggest celebrities.
Okay. So real quick, I'm catching one issue that I would want to check. So when they say there's $1 billion, because to me, my first thought is this sounds like the buying power mythology type of approach. When they show a picture of these celebrities and say there's $1 billion here, why aren't they doing more? Is there $1 billion in that picture? For instance, a lot of the claimed numbers and value and worth associated with rappers or artists like Kanye and others, and I don't remember exactly who's in that picture, is sort of a projected value, an estimated projected value of their brand. It's like it's not necessarily that, again, it's not like the buying power mythology. It's not like they're sitting on billions of dollars that they can then choose to invest how they please. These are valuations that have to do with, again, how richer venture capitalists and investors value these, in this case, men or artists. So again, that's it's that flawed, and this is that problem. He starts with some logic, he starts with some accuracy. He throws in the Jews and the CIA to get that radical credibility, and then he starts going back into mythologies of CEOs as bosses. They do have this amount of money, they just don't have the financial literacy. That's where it sounds like he's going. They don't have to invest in businesses because they're good at creating art, but they don't know how to make business. So anyway, let's see.
Create maybe 10 or 15 jobs for their entourage. White folks, their biggest celebrities are people like Elon Musk, who create 1 million jobs at SpaceX and Tesla, mostly for white people. Jeff Bezos.
Again, now I've even looked into some of this myself. I'm by no means an expert, but again, he's mentioning Elon Musk. Musk did not create any of that. Musk didn't create. He was not involved with PayPal at the time. He was when it became PayPal. He takes credit for that. He was not involved with Tesla. He doesn't have anything to do with the creation of that business or the creation of the car. He doesn't have anything to do with the engineering, with the science. He came in and took over other people's ideas and outmaneuvered them through venture capital investment and luck or whatever else hell else he's got going on. So this is again where we start going into these mythologies.
He created a 1.6 million jobs.
And one of you, I forgot, I'm sorry, who pointed this out? Somebody in our chat. I think in Wadi, aka Obi, shout out to Obi. I think Obi, you pointed this out already. Bezos didn't create a damn thing. The workers created all of that. Those of us who have engaged in the commerce created all of that. The people whose ideas and businesses Bezos collapses as he imposes himself imperially on them, they started all of that. And as he said himself, on his way up into space, he thanked the workers for creating the wealth that would send him up there. So even he understood that. But here comes Boyce. Okay.
For mostly white people, right? To some extent, some would argue, and I don't disagree with you, that you expect too much from your athletes and your entertainers, and it's not always their fault, right? Because they're not trained at the things that Black people need. But at the same time, you must also challenge yourself to say, why am I looking at this person like they're the most successful Black person in America, when really there's a whole lot more out there that needs to be done, right? LeBron James, shout out to him. He's created some jobs for his friends. He's developed what I think is going to become some industry. He built a school. But one thing I need y'all to understand is that one school ain't going to save the whole Black community. One school makes no dent, no impact whatsoever in the status of Black people across this country. There are 40 million Black people. 40 million people can't go to one.
Is he indirectly hating on Umar too on that one?
Goddamn school. So stop saying, well, he built a school. I don't see white people saying, oh, he built one school. That makes a difference. That's going to help all of us do better. No, one damn school should be a template for something that expands across the country. One school should be the starting point for 1,000 schools, right? You need to understand the concept of industrialization. The power that white Americans have always had is that they understand that you mass produce things that you want to see in action. You don't create one and say, look, I need one good thing. Look at what I built. No, you build 1,000,000 of them. They won a war against Germany by building thousands of ships, thousands of planes, millions of bullets, thousands of tanks. They won
a war against Germany because Germany invaded Russia and the Russians defeated them. And they built what they needed to fight the Nazis with communist collective productive capacity.
They didn't say, well, we built one good tank. We're going to win the whole war. We got one tank, yo. We got one tank and one big gun. We're going to kill everybody with it. That's your problem right there.
And even that, Ricky, too.
You got to understand scale. You got to get military minded. Tupac used that term. I love that term when I was young. It was a great term.
Military minded.
Military minded means you got to figure out how to have an army.
So that's what Boyce is doing?
Super Negro. One super soldier ain't going to fix it. You need an army.
Boyce, that's what this is going to conclude with? He's about to get George Jackson on us?
We're all part of this army. Right. So what I'm saying here is this. Look, I'm not here to talk bad or dog out athletes and entertainers. I know some of them. They know me. I don't want them to think that I hate them at all. And what I want to do is kind of have some joint accountability. On one hand, if you are, to whom much is given, much is required. So if you are that celebrity who's sitting on the throne, bragging about how wealthy you are, how many cars you got, how many foreign whips you done bought, how many Gucci bags you bought your girl, just stop it, first of all, because you sound like a goddamn child. Number two, go brag to me about what you're doing with that money on a capital investment standpoint to create hundreds of jobs for Black people. If you flex on that. Flex on that. Don't flex on me. Don't flex to me about how much money you spent with white people, because that really makes you sound insane right now. The community is more intelligent now. People understand economics now. People like myself and Dr. Claud Anderson have been educating millions of people on what smart economics looks like. And now, so the stuff you said in 2008 is not going to work in 2022 because Black folks are getting smarter. I really believe that. So that's the onus on them. And if they want to learn how to industrialize and how to scale up what they're doing, that's where you call people like me. Ice Cube called me because he understood that maybe I can support something that he's working on. He didn't just call me, though. He talked to a lot of smart people that know things that aren't going to be celebrated by white people. So yes, rappers, God bless them, they have infiltrated the system.
So, okay, all right, we'll come back to this in a quick second. But before I forget, I just want to, and I'll put the link in the show notes. But we're not going to get into it now. But I do want to at least show and encourage people to check out if you want a breakdown of the economics in detail and the plan of where of some of Boyce Watkins and his work with Jay Morrison. You can check out this video from JT, the Pocket Watcher, who I think does a great job in his lane of exposing economic fraud and invitations to economic fraud in the Black fake guru community. And he does this a very good video on Boyce Watkins. Now, JT is as he said, he's an accountant. He's, Black bourgeoisie, Howard University educated accountant. And as he says, he's a capitalist. He's not a revolutionary, but to be clear and to be fair, he's at least saying, I don't want the people lying to my people. He truly believes that there's financial literacy pathways to Black people. I don't think JT is a hustler at all. I think he's just politically misguided. But he does good work in exposing, and he does a great breakdown of Boyce's, of the Tulsa plan that he and Jay Morrison did. So when Boyce is up here talking about he and Claud Anderson have shown the way, it is the exact opposite. Their analysis, my own argument against Anderson's analysis, you can watch that, but and I'll link to JT Pocket Watcher's video on Boyce and Jay Morrison to get, he really just as an accountant breaks down and shows like their paperwork and their filings. And he's like, this is going to fail. This is a fraud. This is a mess, so this is just not what he's saying here. That is Watkins. What he's saying here is on many magnitudes of levels inaccurate.
I think one day white America is going to be very, they're going to have regrets about giving so much power and leverage to a guy like a Snoop Dogg, because they don't understand at some point a guy like a Snoop Dogg is going to talk to a guy like me who's going to say, hey, if you really want to use your power in a way to strike a blow to white supremacy, here's what you do. Maybe one day a Floyd Mayweather will sit down with a person who thinks like me, and he's going to say, bro, you've got $100 million. Let me show you how we can build 800 schools and run them and hire, 3,000 Black educators to run those schools. Like, we could do this, right? And I think that there are some entertainers who understand that, who are like, yeah, like, what do I do next, right? But the problem is that there is a natural divide. I think that we also need to understand why Black-owned media is so important, because pay attention now. Why do people look up to the entertainers and the celebrities and all that? Why do we get all excited when some entertainer we see some entertainer we know about? Well, it's because basically somebody put them on TV and somebody gave them a lot of money. Being famous and being rich automatically gives you validation in the minds of many people. They don't care how you got the money. They don't care how you got famous. You could be famous for cooning out every week, and people will still think that's admirable. They'll really think that this is Black excellence. They'll put you in front of kids and say, this is what a successful person looks like. And then they'll be speaking at schools. Well, if you want to grow up and be like me, here's what you do. That needs to end. And one way that we can end that is supporting Black-owned media, where we have the ability to create our own heroes.
Again,
right? So it doesn't mean that there's not a space for Kevin Hart or for Snoop or for the athletes. What it means, though, is that we have it in its proper place. We say, okay, these guys are very successful at what they do, but this is not the best and brightest of the Black community. We've also got some political scientists over here. We've got some medical doctors who are killing the game over here. We've got some Black.
By the way, he's saying this while he makes overtures to famous people who are, again, as he's saying, famous because of their own contradictions. And then he and Claud Anderson and others like that are invited to commercial non-Black owned media. To the breakfast clubs and the Comedy Centrals, and they're invited to those platforms to share this misinformation. So again, he takes this strand of accuracy that we need alternative Black-owned spaces, but we don't need Black commercial-owned media spaces. We don't need Black-owned media spaces that are going to replicate the same mythologies, and then we don't need to be fraudulent or misleading in our denial of the fact that you all are invited to commercial media spaces on a regular basis.
Black attorneys that will knock your socks off and sue the shit out of you. We've got some black mamas who are raising extraordinary kids. We've got some fathers that are holding it down for the community. We must create our own heroes so that we don't let the whole community get boxed in to the entertainer, rapper, comedian, athlete box. That's what has to occur. We can coexist. Doesn't mean we hate the entertainers and the athletes. It just means that white folks will only give attention to certain segments of the community. And these tend to be people who support their interest. Snoop Dogg would not have been performing at the Super Bowl if he had not been up there apologizing his ass off when the Gayle King controversy went down. Do y'all remember that? Or is your memory that short? Do y'all remember when poor Snoop, poor guy, I feel bad for him on this. I was really happy that he spoke up when Gayle King tried to say, posthumously accused Kobe of rape with her raggedy butt, right? And Snoop came out and said, "You dog head bitch," right? And the minute he said that, go back and watch. I said to you all, don't do that, because they're gonna have you on your knees begging to get back into the system. Like, do not do that. You went too far. You didn't have to call.
By the way, I see this Ketanji Brown Jackson nominated by Biden. Please go check the video that I did on Lisa Cook, the other potential nominee. I think we might have seen why she didn't get nominated.
To call her a dog head bitch. You could have just made your point and kept your job, but now you done lost your job. Now they're going to publicly lash you. They're going to publicly humiliate you to show you who's boss. That is the game. That is the strategy. Get the biggest, strongest buck Negro on his knees and remind these Negroes that we're in control of this. They did it on the plantation. They do it today. Snoop Dogg would not have been on that stage if he had not apologized profusely three different times, humiliating himself in the progress.
This
the process
projects radicalism.
Why do you think Snoop Dogg was on stage and Ice Cube was not? Because Ice Cube didn't apologize. If Ice Cube
somebody correct me if I'm wrong. I want to say that has more to do with Ice Cube's history and relationship with Death Row and Dre more than anything else. And when's the last time Dre produced a track for Cube? Somebody might be able to correct me on this one. Because he's produced tracks for everybody on that stage, including Mary, in recent years. So, I don't know about that one, but it does sound like, but this projects all the mannerisms and this projects radicalism. So if folks in the audience are not exposed to actual Black radicalism, this I could see this being effective. Didn't he bang on the table too a little bit?
Cube had apologized. I'm sorry, boss. I didn't mean to get involved in your politics and mess up your money, sir. You would have got Ice Cube on that stage, I bet, instead of that chubby 50 Cent hanging upside down at 46 years old, looking crazy.
Oh, they do?
If you're 46 years old, man, you ain't supposed to be hanging upside down. That might kill you. Seriously, dude. Seriously, and take the white.
Maybe Boyce is right.
No, man, you're 46. You shouldn't be 46 trying to do things you did at 26. I could have told you that.
I agree with that. I
think he knows that. He's a smart man.
Although Mary got away with it.
My point is to say,
she looked like she was in her 20s that day.
How this game is played. White supremacy is a system. You can't beat a system without having a better system. Systems are connected to scaling and industrialization.
Capitalism.
Systematic solutions means that we don't sit around and say, yeah, you built one school. No, we say, oh, great. One school is awesome. That's a great start. Now, how are we going to build 1,000 schools? How are we going to get you to use all your corporate connections and connections to media outlets and all this other stuff to go raise $1 billion so we can build 1,000 schools because we got the educators.
So wait a minute. We need to listen to Boyce so they can learn how to maximize their relationships with media and corporations, because it's media and corporations who are standing by ready to fund and support the development of hundreds and thousands of schools that will properly educate Black people, but it's the Black celebrities that are the ones financially illiterate and backwards enough not to take advantage of those relationships. I think that's what I just heard. Okay, I just want to make sure. That sounds.
Just hit me up, LeBron. Deep. I can send out an email. I'll have you an army of really smart, intelligent Black people ready to go to work right away. And they'll even take a pay cut to come and join the.
Oh, we'll be finished by then. Don't worry.
You just got to set it off because you got 80 million Twitter followers and I don't. I have 130,000. I'm doing the best I can with what I got, but I can't dribble a basketball. I can't bust a rap, and my jokes are not that funny. So white folks will only let me go so far. Do you understand what I am saying? You have to gain the ability to industrial.
Wait, white folks and that Asian dude he was doing marketing for, right? Was that debunked at some point? Like, who's holding him back?
As your solutions, you must have the ability to scale up. You stop.
That's a fact.
How much money you spent on
but Gucci. That's a fact, and that's why that's what I'm saying. That's why my argument for buying power, I think, is I'm hearing it the same thing. Of course you need money to scale up. That would be another reason why, starting from where we started at the beginning, there is no billion or whatever dollars in that picture, and there is no locked in permanent access to more capital to expand and scale up and do all the things that Boyce is talking about. So I don't know why he's seeming to suggest that Black celebrities are able are in a position to do that. Education is not, it's also not where you're going to make a lot of money. So even if so the creation of these schools is going to require permanent investment coming at a loss. That's why they need to be, that's why I don't, and it also sounds like he would be advocating some sort of private school, charter school type thing. And I'm not a fan of that. I don't support that either. Cause the point is, anyway, but that's why you need governments to do that. And then of course he's not challenging capital or capitalism. So I don't know how the system of white supremacy, which at best, whether or not you're race or class first, I think it has to be recognized that capitalism as a system benefits from white supremacy if that's just described as a system, and one can't work without the other. So what white supremacist system is going to be addressed without addressing the capitalist one that gives material to the white supremacist system? I don't know.
Show me how many jobs you created, and don't show me that you got 4 jobs for your homeboys. That's great. I need you to show me that you have 4,000 jobs for all the people in your hood. You should not be a billionaire rapper doing videos in a hood where everybody's broke except you. That does not look good.
I agree with that.
How your people are doing is a direct reflection on you. Manhood, that's manhood. I measure my manhood by how well my people around me are doing. If I talk about I'm a man, look at me, I'm a great man, but my kids are raggedy, then I'm not such a great man after all, am I?
Oh, I was wondering. So by my people around me, he just means his kids and his family, right? I was about to say, because if we extend 2 feet beyond that, then none of us are looking good in our manhood.
If I'm talking about I'm a great man and my woman is out here in the street struggling to get a can of Beanie Weenies, then I'm not such a great man after all, am I? So part of your success, Malcolm told you this. Malcolm used to talk about this. A big chunk of your success as a man is measured by how well your people are doing. So if Jay-Z is going back and doing a video in the Marcy Projects, and everybody, you got grown men riding bicycles and little kids looking dusty and little raggedy corner store, guys sitting around holding liquor bottles with $10 in their pocket, but you rolled up in a Benz, that would make you look like a slumlord. Not that you are one, but that's the impression that intelligent people are going to get. They're going to say, damn, with all this success, what good is your success if ain't nobody else winning except for you? If you're eating well and everyone that you love is starving, are you necessarily a good leader? Or are you, a narcissistic demagogue? Not that I'm calling anybody this. I'm saying that this is what you need to be able to discern.
So you're either a narcissistic demigod in the hip hop celebrity community, or you're giving money to me and my crew to teach you how to invest your money to help the community. That's kind of what I'm hearing too. So you either sell out or you working with me. Okay.
So let's go back. I gotta go. I'm really late for my meeting, but I had to have this conversation with you, so it was worth the exchange. Let's look at this picture again, okay?
It's
so this picture, you got all.
I'm late for my meeting too, everybody. I got
Khaled and all the superheroes. You know, they create personas. You got Yo Gotti and T.I. T.I.'s a great rapper. I met T.I. in Ghana. Good smart guy. God bless him. Right? Diddy's always.
Wait, what did he just say?
I mean, he's been relevant.
Boyce Watkins and T.I. met in Ghana. Oh my God, my Pan-Africanism has never been so hurt.
For 30 years. I mean, that's impressive. But I think the question is, what difference does it make to the community? You know, what difference? I mean, where has the community benefited from any of this, other than being fed an illusion similar to the illusions that are fed to us by the Democratic Party? I think we have to sort of scale up and industrialize, and that's the point of this whole conversation. But again, I want to make it clear, this is not anti-rapper, not anti-comedian, not anti-athlete, not anti-nothing. This is really just a pro-Black conversation. Just the same way being pro-Black doesn't mean you hate white people. Well, being pro-Black doesn't mean you hate the rappers. Their music is good. They are excellent at what they do. But at the same time, there has to be a power move made by the community. And we got to figure out what that's going to be. All right, guys, I'm going to get out of here.
So I hope what I was stuck on is that I'm thinking, like, on the one hand, I wanted to thank the BPM members and patrons for doing this, because I can't do this by myself, selfishly, and feeling like I kind of had to watch that for my classes, for some other work. This is very helpful. Wouldn't want to do this alone. Don't suggest that anybody do this alone. And that's why we need to work in collectives. The more organized and the more radical and militant, the better. So, thank you all for joining us for this. I know those of us who are here live going to make way for a conversation between Ajamu Baraka, Daruba bin Wahad, hosted by Kalanji Jamachanga. And if you're seeing this not live, and you haven't seen that, definitely go see that after you've seen this. We all need a sort of intellectual, ideological cleansing after this. But I definitely appreciate that. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Thanks for including us. But when he says things like we need to scale up, again, it's the same thing. It's a Black capitalist fantasy starting with a foundational and extremely problematic myth that there is this pool of money that exists, whether it's in the rappers' pockets or the community collectively, that can be marshaled in certain ways, that somehow avoid political power, political confrontation, and real grassroots organization, and somehow always seem to get reduced to some sort of individual, hire me, invest in me, buy my school classroom plan, so on and so forth. And I honestly, I don't mean to, we don't want to encourage people to get in trouble, but I do feel like Puma has a trademark infraction case. All right. Anyway, look, I hope we had a little bit of fun and can make some use of this going forward. And I really appreciate everybody coming through. Definitely become a member of the channel. Well, thank you for being members and patrons of the channel. Encourage others to do the same. And we hope you appreciate this first look at this. Same thing applies if you're seeing this late or later, or want to come back and have some thoughts that you didn't get to at the time. Please, as my man Pierre Comedy Hype said,
put it in the comments.
And catch you here next time at I Mix What I Like Live, or a Mix What I Like special, not myself editions, not by myself editions, as we maybe look at another video. Feel free to suggest some as we go forward. So thanks, everybody. Peace, because I know you're willing to fight for it. I mix what I like, what I like, what I like, what I like. what I like.